This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so there is the um 024 class, right, from Red Hat. And I went through this last week, but this is like the preliminary. Like if you just want to get into the course, you can go here to the outline. It talks about shells, kernel spaces, introduction to containers, cockpit, RHEL 8, and so forth, right? And then if you look at the skills path here, it'll tell you that it goes over the 024 and then the 124 and then the preliminary exam, which all of this stuff right here is from that IBM course. You get it for free. And then the 134 class, you take that's your second part, and then you take the exam, right? Um, Mr. Rico is taking the exam. And then some of us are just longtime Red Hat administrators like myself, just long, I guess you can call me long and suffering Red Hat administrator. Just haven't taken the exam. Myself, I should go take the exam, but it's just so many other things for me to do. In order to take in order for me not to take the exam, like I rather focus on stuff like Kubernetes and Tanzu and stuff like that before this one. That's only because that's just where I'm at when it comes to it. Any questions so far?
Would you be able to drop the link as to where you are right now on that page? Um,
Yeah, it's also inside of the RHCSA group too. But I'll post it again here.
okay,
Let
cool.
me.
I just joined it just now.
Yeah, yep. Let me go ahead and post that. I know for a fact it's there. And I'll push that there, and I'll pin that as well. Um, there you go, it's pinned to the channel. So if you all go up here to pin, you'll see the 24 and everything else pinned. All right. So a lot of people ask all the time, are there alternative are there alternative facts? I'm just playing. A lot of people ask all the time, are there alternative material to use? Some people are like, well, why do I need to take the RHCSA? You don't. You can take the LPIC, right? Um and here's the LPIC exam right here. Let me hop down here so that Udemy has theirs, but it comes for LPI. It actually is the first one, the first exam before Red Hat exam was the LPIC. They came first. So you could take this exam, LPIC 101 and 105. They'll talk you through, you can go here and sign up for it. As you can see on, let me move my screen over some. If you go back, you can see here Udemy. Some people have this stuff at Udemy. You can see Cloud Academy has it as well too, right? So that's the LPIC, and then the other one is the Linux Plus from CompTIA, and you could take that exam as well too. Um, what I will say is I personally have an affinity towards Red Hat because I think people recognize that first, and then they recognize um probably I would put the Linux Plus and the LPIC right there, but together. But if you don't take any of these exams and you know your stuff really, really well, when you're sitting down and trying to go over it, when you're trying to showcase your talent inside of a interview, that holds weight as well too. So you have options. You know the stuff really, really well, and the validation of that you know it very well is the exam. But you may know it really, really well and get in an interview and able to slice and dice up the questions and um, go from there. It's really on how you see yourself. If you feel like you need the exam, go get the exam. I'm not trying to push exams. I'm trying to push skill sets. versus the exams. And I can tell if you know the information or not by the type of questions that I ask you. I can tell if you know the information or not because you could be really, really good at taking exams and not know the information. But what the Linux exams are generally aimed towards is hands-on. I don't know about the Linux Plus. I haven't taken. Let me see. Is it hands-on? See, they a number of 90 questions. See, they not even hands-on. They're just like they may have you enter some stuff. I'm not sure, but it looks like it's yeah multiple choice and performance based. So they got both. They do both. And they say they recommend experience of 12 months of hand-on experience Linux servers and a junior Linux support, junior cloud DevOps support, and so forth, right? And the beta exam is $50. That was December the 3rd. That expired. So it's usually $384, right? Then there is Sander Van Goot, right? His stuff is all over. He has his own website where he actually creates his content and so forth. Um, so here's his videos and stuff like that. For his stuff, but he has his own Linux training. If you want to follow his stuff. So here's his books and exams and so forth. He's made a mint out for this stuff. Um, and you also can go to O'Reilly. His stuff is the living open source foundation, right? But you can also go to O'Reilly and get a 30-day membership and sign up and take his exams as well too, which he has practice exams in there as well. Here's a list of his books. I think some of these books are pinned inside of the channel as well too. You can go to Amazon and probably get these on a Kindle as well, if you wanted to. All right. So I'm just giving you where the information is in terms of Linux, LPIC, Linux Plus, whatever it is that you feel that you want to do and how you want to do it. Um, what is that getting that Linux cert lead you to? Leads you to a lot of opportunities, but it's just not only just the Linux cert that you'll need other things, like you'll need other things that complement your Linux cert or your Linux experience, right? Things like configuration management tools, things like understanding architecture and design, understanding how to, what's the difference between a container and a VM? What is the what is a hypervisor? What is virtualization? What is the difference between configuration management and infrastructure as code? What is the difference? What is the difference between Puppet and what's the difference between Ansible? What is the difference between a Zen hypervisor and a KVM hypervisor? What's the difference between those two? What is a kernel? How do you define what an operating system is? What is DNS? What how do you know how does this work when I type in www dot uh uh let's go Dell.com. And when I type in www.dell.com, what happens? What actually happens when I type in Dell.com? What happens on the computer itself? How does networking work? And going through these Linux classes actually gives you that insight at a lower level before you start getting into a cloud level. So, what is subnetting? How to write a bash script, how to write any script, how to um, how to update files, how to move things around. And I know I've been talking, so let me make sure we don't have any questions as well too. Um, is it good to take the Linux Essentials before the LPIC? you could take that 024 class. The RHCSA is designed to get you from nothing to something, right? That's what it's designed for. If you want to take the Linux Essentials class, you can. The 024 class as well too. But that's what it's designed for, to get you from something. And then, like I said before, like I tell people all the time, you may start doing Linux and feel like I don't even like none of this and want to go somewhere else. It's on you when it comes to that. If you want to take the RHCSA or the AWS, I mean, honestly, when you take the Security Plus, understanding the command line, understanding how to look up log files is part of the Security Plus. The RHCSA gives you that. With AWS Cloud, understanding networking and storage. That's another thing that Linux covers is storage. Understanding virtual storage, understanding block device storage, understanding what is to see character devices and so forth. Like there are certain things I think that the RHCSA level sets you for when you're talking about Security Plus and the AWS cloud. So it's either or to me. You're gonna need all three of them if you want to be lethal, right? So any other questions? No. Let me see. And I don't have my thing up, so I can't see if you did ask questions. Let me go to my lab environment and let me increase my time. All right. So in your lab environment, I would suggest if you're new to it, watch the tutorial. Here's the Once you do that, you'll have to create the lab environment. All you do is hit the button. And then once you hit the button, it's going to create these servers for you. These servers correlate to what you see on the guided exercises. It tells you log into workstation as the student, using the password student, and then start playing around with the command line and so forth, right? So that's what they get you to do. So we're getting ready to go into chapter 3. Looks like I'm probably right here. Managing files. We did this create, move, make dir. We did all of that last week. Yeah, week before last or whatever. All right. Did anybody get in touch with um William? I
I did. He said he was gonna refer me to some companies in the DMV area.
got you. Got you. All right, yeah, keep in touch with him. You got to stay on him. All right. I probably would get in touch with him every 3 days if I were y'all. All right. So let me show you how the guided exercises work. I am going to pull this out and make another one, and then I'm gonna minimize this so we can keep this screen clear here. All right. So in the guided exercises, they say, hey, hop onto the workstation and then run this command. So if we go back up here, I am going to open it in another tab right there. All right. Let me go here, go lab environment. Okay. So I'll need to hop on the workstation. So you can see it pops open for me. Now up here is I turn this on for cutting and pasting. And then if you open this up, it gives you a screen right there a keyboard right on the screen if you wanted one, right? So once you get in here, you just hit enter and clears the screen. Then you hit student, type in student, because we saw that was the password. And now it's gonna come up with a little banner up here at the top. We're not worried about that yet, so we're just gonna close that. And then we come over to activities. And once we get over to activities, we drop down here. You can see this is our terminal. This is just the interface of a RHEL 8 box. So I can come here and hit the terminal, and I'm going to make this bigger. So for me, I'm gonna view and then zoom in, and then view and then zoom in. So that makes it a little bigger for you on the screen. And don't forget that you can, if you're watching this on GoToMeeting, you can make the screen larger if you wanted to. All right, so now let's get back to our chapter. And our chapter tells us that we type this command lab files management, files manage start. So I'm gonna cut and paste. I just want to show you the cut and paste. Let's see if that works. There we go. I cut and paste. I'm on a Mac, Apple C, Apple B. And so now it did a check on server A, and it set up server A for our lab. The labs are independent of each other. Each chapter is independent. So you don't have to worry about if I miss something here, then I won't get it there. Now, what's cool is I can do one or two things. I can come back over here and open up the console for server A, or I can do just like the machine or like the actual lab is telling me. I can SSH to the machine. So my suggestion to you is not to do what I'm doing. Is highlight, cut, and paste. My suggestion to you is really start getting very familiar with the command line. So I type in clear to clear the screen. It's telling me I need to go to server A, and I'm going as the user student. How do I know I'm user student? I do an ID-A. Um, I can see that I have a UID of 1000. I have a student, which is student, and then I have a group with the GID. I have a UID and then a GID of 1000, and I am student, and then these are the groups that I am a part of. I also could type who am I, and that's you don't have hold on, who am I? There we go. I am student, right? I can also type PWD, and that would tell me what directory that I'm in. I could type history to show you all the commands that I have ran as well too. I type clear to clear my screen. I type CD to go to var log, to change directory. I type CD dash. Let me find my dash. To take me back to the previous directory I was in, right? And how do I know where am I at on the command line? Well, I know by a couple of things. I know that right here, the way that what's in between these brackets are set up, I see that I'm student on workstation or at workstation. And this tilde right here tells me I am home. So if I CD over the temp, and I CD to tilde, that's going to take me home. CD tilde always takes me home. Tilde means I'm home. How do I know I'm home? I type PWD /home // student. I'm in my home directory, right? And then I can do a ls up one level, and it's going to show me that there's other stuff in this /home directory of DevOps and student. Any questions so far? No, I probably might have went over that really quickly, but I just want you to get that familiar with um with commands. So I prefer you not to I prefer you not cut and paste. Yes, William for no better. Oh, cool. You heard back from him today. Cool. He said a lot of people reached out. I was making sure that you all reached out. All right. So now we're on with SSH into server A. So did I do that yet? No, this SSH just array. And I can tell that I need to be student because it tells me right here I need to be student, but I'm already student, so I can just SSH server A. I don't need to put in student. All right, so there we go. I'm on the box itself already. D, can you get Russ the link to the class? All right. Yeah, he hit me up in Slack. All right. And he's also in the RHCSA channel. All right. So in the student's home directory, they want you to use McDir to create 3 subdirectories. And as the directories are music, pictures, and videos. And I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm just showing you how you can use the interface. I want to go on to the next stuff. But the make dir command, we're gonna cheat. I'm not gonna type all that stuff. We're gonna just do make dir um A B C. I'm being real simple. And if I do ls minus L, you can see I have a 3 directories A B C, and you can tell that they're directories because they have a D in the front here. Boom, boom, and boom. The owners of those 3 directories are student. The group they are associated with is student, and you can see the permissions on these are 775, right? How do I know they're 775? So RWX equals to 4-2-1. And that, if you add 4 plus 2 plus 1 up, that's 7, right? So read, write, execute. So if I want to read this again, this is a directory with permissions for and let me type this out too. RWX, the first set is equal to the users. The next set is RWX, that's equal to the group. And then the next set is RWX, and that's equal to others. So what I have is the user has a permission of 7 on a directory, so meaning they can read, write, execute. The next is the group has permissions of 7, read, write, execute, and then is the other has just R and X turned on. R and X is 4 and 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. So 775 is the permissions on a directory for A, B, and C, right? They're the same all the way down. So we learned a lot about just creating that directory and what we see. Any questions?
Wait, you said other has 5?
Mm-hmm. 4 and 1. Read and execute. You see it? And this should be that's supposed to be a 0. I mean a O, not a 0
It
for
has
read,
read,
right?
write, execute.
No other does it.
What am I reading?
Right here. So right here, user group other. User group
Oh, on
other.
the one on top. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. User group other has read it has read write execute, read, write, execute, and then read and execute.
I was reading the last one you just wrote, like 775 directory 80s.
Yeah, this right here should be a letter O, not a number O. I hit the wrong one. But yeah, I was showing that what was spelled out here. User group other. Oops. Oh, you saying take the W off? Yeah, yeah. There you get you.
Yeah.
Everybody got that? Some. Okay. All right. So another thing that we can tell about this is all this stuff gonna come back up again in later chapters. You're like, oh, she mentioned that already. But there's something special about the dots at the end of these permissions. And the dots at the end of those permissions mean that SELinux is turned on. I think in the latest version of RHEL 8.5 or 8.4, and I need to go over that with you too. I'm gonna do that after I teach. Just remind me. I may do it now because I'll forget about it. Um, they got rid of the SELinux stuff. So let's see. If we do git status, or I should say git enforce, we see that SELinux is set to enforcing. And I'm gonna sudo to root sudo su dash. Student is the password. I'm gonna clear my screen. And I want to cat etc SELinux config. And as you can see in here, this is where I turn on SELinux for to be enforcing or permissive mode, right? Or disabled. And it's what you see here, the pound signs in front are comments. So that means I'm making comments on these first 5 lines. And then you see SELinux is set to enforcing. And then you can see there are SELinux types. Targeted processes are protected. And then you got minimum modification of targeted policy only. Selected processes are protected. And then MLS, multi-level security protection. All right. So the question is, what is SELinux? Who founded SELinux? Um, so here's your Wikipedia. You can go read that if you want to, but it comes from NSA. The best resources I'm going to tell you now is Red Hat and Fedora when it comes to SELinux. So if you go to Red Hat documentation, and this part is important, um, always go to the product documentation. You all should be able to get free accounts on Red Hat website where you can get a developer's license and you can download Red Hat ISOs for free. So, but before we do all of that, I want to show where you can come in here and start reading about documentation. All right. So first things first, you need to select which version of the product that you want to know about. All right. And the other one is you always read the release notes. You always read, and these are the things that I read. I always read the release notes, the planning, the installing and upgrading. I would read image builder, system administration, security, networking, storage, virtualization, identity management. Um, Clusters, if you need it, that's like one of those hit or miss. Cloud, yes, and Red Hat Insights. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna download release notes for 8.5 if I'm working on 8.5. So let's go look at a single page for RHEL 8.5 and what am I looking for in release notes? All right. In release notes, if you come over here, you'll see that you can provide back to Red Hat so about things that you're having complications with. So here's the other thing. It is an open source project, right? So you can provide them feedback, right? You need a actual account so you can provide them feedback as problems and screenshots that you have or go to their forums and stuff like that. So that way they can say, oh, in product release in the next update for 8.5, we're gonna make something, we're gonna update something, or we're gonna make something GA, generally available. You can see on the other one there was RHEL 9 as beta, where it's open to the community to try to use it, but don't use it in production. But go ahead and test this out for me, right? Go ahead and let us know if what flaws and stuff that we have in this right here, so you know whether or not you want to use it or whatever the case may be. All right. So here's major changes in 8.5. Right. So here they tell you, in 8.5, Image Builder supports the following features and so forth. RHEL for Edge, security, the system-wide cryptographic policies, the scopes and the wildcards. R6 log processor has been updated to a newer version, and also implements TLS using OpenSSL library. Then they talk about OSCAP, and the list goes on if you scroll down here on the right hand side on, and this is just, I'm just in release notes. So you want to go through release notes, like right here, package management update. Like that would be important, right? On RHEL 8, installing software is ensured by YUM, the YUM tool, which is based on DNF technology. We deliberately adhere to use the usage of YUM term for consistency with previous major which with previous major versions. However, if you type DNF instead of YUM, the command works as expected because YUM is an alias to DNF. So you can use either or. But that but again, when we're talking about product release, we're talking about Fedora is more upstream there, and their releases are more frequent than what you would find in Red Hat, I should say in RHEL Enterprise. All right. Um, and then they go into new features. If you come down here on the side and look at architectures, RHEL is distributed with the kernel version 4.18 .0.38. All right. If you go over to kernel.org, you can see that the latest kernel is 5.16.8. Their latest release is 418 dot 418.0-348. They're always going to be behind the latest and greatest kernel, um, for testing purposes, to make sure things work and so forth and so on. If you're feeling froggy, you can go out and update the kernel, but you'll probably be breaking the, not no probably, you will, you'll be breaking Red Hat support, and they probably won't support that, right? So you just have to keep that in mind. Trying to, if you're doing something like with Red Hat or whatnot. All right. And then they go into like the installation, the binary DVD and so forth and so on. Um, they also get into like security. If you hop down into security, here is where they're talking about the Liberate Swan packages have been upgraded, the different IKE. Usually find this for iSpec, IP spec when we're doing that. GNU utils, and then here's the other thing too. Here's the Bugzilla that's associated with that. Tamika, what are you talking about with Bugzilla? So Bugzilla, Red Hat. So here's Red Hat Bugzilla, and I can come in here. I should be able to. I don't think I need all. I don't think I need the BZ. I think I should. I should just need this number. Let's look and see. Um, enter Bugzilla. Let me see if I could just do that. I may need to know. Oh, you're not authorized. Okay, cool. Log in. Oh, I need to set up my account. Let me see. Red Hat associate number. Red Hat customer. Oh, yeah, I may need to log in as with my customer stuff. Let me see. Let me go do this. Let me do this. Maybe we'll see. All right. I don't want to click one. Yeah, sure. Let me get my confirmation email over here. Any questions so far? And I haven't been looking, so let me pull this up. Let me confirm. Let's see. You currently go visit. Okay. I'm confirming my account here on my tablet. And let me set this up. 1 second. So we can get into Bugzilla's. Because you'll see this if you're doing support for with Red Hat too. Oh man, it won't let me in. All right, whatever. Let me go look up a Bugzilla. All right, Here we go, right here. All right, let me blow this up. This is an alternative, but it works either way it go. So here we go. What is Bugzilla? It is a Red Hat bug tracking system that is used to submit reviews defects that have been found in Red Hat distributions and community projects, right? So they have a list right here, like commit history, upstream sources, Mozilla, Alertify, so forth. So right here, if you come over here to branches, let me see, they got a master. So you could actually set up, like you could use Bugzilla in your own I guess you could say software development, if you want to set up bugs and keep up with releases, bugs, forks, and so forth. Let me go back over here for Red Hat Bugzilla. That's really what I wanted. The zombie apocalypse. All right, so here they say Bugzilla is an open source project. The instance running on Bugzilla Red Hat.com is heavily used for Red Hat Enterprise and Fedora projects, right? So here they say you can create a Bugzilla, you can go through and talk about things like if you were at work and there was an error that came up and you went to use Red Hat's documentation. I don't know how many people use Red Hat's documentation at all. Yep. So let me pull that up. All right. So let's go to 7. And let's skip release notes and let's go to system administration. All right, so when I clicked on system administration, you can see here I have the system administration guide for RHEL 7. And then you can see here I have multiple forms, HTML or PDF that I can do. Common administrative commands, how to use the console and so forth. You want to know how I learned Red Hat and stuff like that? I literally will come to the guide. All right, let me go here and let's do a PDF. And all the commands that they have in here and everything that they talk about doing, I did it. I'll sit down and go through the guide. So let me blow this up. So I start out with chapter 1, getting started. What is cockpit? Go through chapter 1. Everything in chapter 1, and then I would literally go through. It's 602 pages. I would literally sit down and go through every single one of these. All right, I go through every single section. Why? Because I want to get familiar with the commands and I want to get to know what I need to do and how I need to do stuff. This is how I would. This is just another way to study on the job, right? Um, and learning how things work and why, and oh, that if you do this, that's gonna actually be an issue because there's an if you look at the release notes will tell you that this is in a beta version. This isn't generally available, so don't do this in production, right? registering the system and managing subscriptions, right? So literally going through here, talking about Yum. Let's click on listing packages, right? So they talk about, hey, you can do a Yum list all, or you can do a Yum list with a glob expression and I guess HELLIP. Never heard of that, but they have it here. All right, now here they're doing some regular expression on here, right? And then here they're doing again another set of regular expression. So those that want to learn bash and so forth. Speaking of, let me pull up. This is in my way up here. We'll drop down. I have a little bar that's in my way and I don't know how to get rid of it. But anyway, um my best suggestion would be Safari Books Online. Let me sign in here. Uh, 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 I don't remember my password there. Let me go over here. Let me go here. I forget my passwords. No, I can't. Well, you know what? I can. I think this is expired. I know this is expired, but I think I can still use it. Let's see. I think I can still use this. Oh, don't know. Let's find out. Can I still use it? Okay, cool. All right, so if I come here and if I type bash scripting, just type bash scripting. And you can look these books up on Packet too. I'm gonna show you too on Packet. But anyway, if you were coming in here and you were using Safari, you can just do on books here, and let's do books published date the last 2 years. All right, so we got Linux command line and shell scripting that came out from Wiley on 2021. You can do mastering PowerShell if you wanted to. Kali Linux, they have that, but they also have like Packet, right? So here's another one, Packet Pub. And if you go bash scripting as well too, you can come here and they have little different books like mastering shell scripting. I wouldn't necessarily pay $27.99 for them. They usually have like specials for $5.99, or they'll be running events where you can get a free book every day. They were doing that for a while. Then they have a quick start to bash quick start guide. Most of the packet books are in Safari, right? So let's go here and let me grab a book title. All right, so let's go and see if we can find this on Safari. I need to go back. Home. And I want to search. Oh, here we go. There's my search. And so there it is right there. So there's the book. And so if I click on this book in here, now they used to set it up. This is how they have changed over the years. I've had Safari for about 15 or 20 years now. I'm grandfathered in. They used to have it set up where, hey, I don't, I don't want the whole book, but I could get tokens, right? They used to have tokens. This is old school. They used to have tokens, and say I want to come through here and I just want to say I just want to do stuff surrounded by single quotes. I could It could be like 3 tokens or 1 token, and it'll download this entire page for me for with that my one little token. And you used to get 10 tokens, 10 to 20 tokens a month, something like that. And so you would download sections of books instead of having whole books sitting in your library. But now they've changed that. Um, I can no longer download my my just a chapter of a book. I used to like that. But I'm showing you this because um, this is also another alternative to learning Linux as well too. Um, Let me come up here and show you. If I did a search and I just type in let's type in Linux training. So you have learn Linux administration, is supercharge your career, Linux and system hardening, so forth. You have videos here. You have live events, uh, troubleshooting with Sandra Van Goot live event. You sign up for the spots and so forth, right? Um, and go from there. Learn Linux in 3 hours. So just another alternative, right? Um, to learn and literally going through these steps that they have for system administration, uh just each page, going through it, help you understand how to manipulate the commands, how to manipulate and use the commands, and also retention as well too. All right. Any questions so far? All right, cool. Peace out, Sequoia. Have a good night. All right, so let's go back here. So yeah, we got 2 hours right there. All right, so this is the lab for chapter 3. Right, you all can finish off that lab. I don't want to go through this whole entire lab. I just want to show you how you set yourself up to go through the lab, and you can do the rest on your own. All right, so now let's go to next. And let's start some teaching. All right, making links between files. We have what we call hard links and soft links. Inside of here, we're gonna go to let's go to ls. Let's cd over to etc, and I want to do ls here. Yeah, just do ls. All right. So sometimes your command line will be colorful. Um, and they'll have different colors, but let's not rely on the colors. But for right now, we're gonna rely on the colors. Everything that you see in a dark blue right here, off the rip, they're directories. Everything that is in white is a file, and everything that you see here in this, I don't know what you want to call it, blue green or whatnot, is or turquoise or whatever you want to call it, is a link. Now, I know that just because I'm looking at it, but you need to double verify that. And when they're links, but they're also soft links. All right. So let's look at OS release. We're gonna do an ls minus l on OS dash release. So I do a ls space minus l. I type in OS. I hit tab, and it's gonna give me OS release because it's the only thing that's in here with that, right? So one of the first thing I see is a pointer to another directory. I also see that if I hop in front of here, there's an L right there, and that L tells me that it's a link. Now, another thing I can use is the file command on OS release, and it's going to tell me it's a symbolic link too, right? Same way when I said stuff is a directory. Well, Tamika, how do you know that it's a directory? Same method applies. If I do a ls minus l on udev, I'm going to, well, I should do it ls minus ls on udev. Sorry, is that what I want? Well, that's not what I want. I know it's a directory because it's stuff under it. But if I do it ls uh ls, and then I'm going to grep udev. I should do my, I guess I might need to do it ls minus l. Yep, ls minus l in this directory. So what I did was I did a ls loan listing, and then I piped it over to grep, and I told grep of grab me this basically, I don't want to say argument, grab me this, what's the word I'm looking for,
Right.
characters, the set of characters, udev, and give me output. So here I'm saying, here from there it's saying that here's what you wanted me to grab, I grabbed it, and it's showing that it's a directory. Now, that may be too much work for you. So you just do a file on udev, and it's telling you it's a directory, right? And everything that I said that was in white is a file. You don't have to believe what I said. You don't have to even believe your eyes. Use file and then type profile. And it's an ASCII text, so we know it's an actual file. And then if I go one step further and say, okay, file, I mean not file, if I say ls minus l on profile, the fact that there's nothing in front here lets me know that that's a file. It also gives me the permissions on this. I also know that SELinux is turned on. We also know who owns it, user and group wise, when it was last created. So remember, RWX equals to 421, which if you add them up equals to 7. So 4 plus 2 is what? Oh, let me pull up my thingy. What's 4 plus 2? Not 4 times 2, but 4.
6.
Okay, 6. All right. And we see here that R is 4, so this one is 644. So the permissions on this, oops, let me get over here. Is 644, right? And I know that because I have R and W right here for the in the user space, in the group space. Yeah, I have 4, and the other space I have another 4, so 644. All right. All right, let's get back to what else they're wanting us to do in this class. All right, so they was like, okay, every file starts with a single hard link from its initial name to the data on the file system. When you create a hard link file, when you create a new hard link to a file, you create another name that points to the same data. The hard link acts exactly like the original file. Once created, you cannot tell the difference between the new hard link and the original. So now they're saying do a PWD. They're just giving an example. PWD, and then do a ls minus l on new file text, right? So in our home directory, we could actually do this stuff, right? Let me pull this up right here. And let me pull this out. And let me shrink it down some so we can do it side by side. It's hard to do these side by side. When I do side by side on the thing, it actually makes it a little harder. But we are going to get through that tonight. All right, cool. and cool here. Oh yeah, that's the part I hate right there. So let me clear this screen. It gives me enough where I can overlay it here. All right. So right here they're saying let's exit as root. Who am I to say I'm back at student? You can't see that because uh there we go. That gives you a little bit there, right? Student. I'll shrink that back down. So we know I'm student. All right. I'm in my home directory, PWD. All right. Home/home student. We can expand that right here to show /home student, right? And now what we can do is now say, okay, let's do what they're saying here. They're saying do a ls-l on new file.txt, right? Well, here's the trick. I don't have a new file.txt in my home directory. So I'm going to create one. I'm going to do that by doing touch new file.txt. All right, so now once I did new file dot text, if I now do that ls-l on the new file dot text, you see now I have that file, right? Um, student read write, but look, notice the difference here, and then I'm gonna tell you why this happened. You see, they got read write, read, and then read, and then I have read write read write read. That's because their UMask is different. And if I type UMask, it's going to show me that my UMask is 002, right? So this has nothing to do with this chapter. You figure this out later, but I'm gonna give it to you now. All right. When DIRs are created, they start with 777. Okay. When files are created, they start with, I should have said start with, I didn't do that up there, 666, right? So let me show you what happens. So I created a file. Basically what happened is I have a start of 666. My UMask, or we can, if we want to keep it all octal, 0666. And then my UMask is 0002. So what ends up happening is I'm subtracting 0 from 0, which gives me 0. 6 from 0, which gives me 6. 6 from 0 again gives me another 6. And then 6 from 2 gives me a 4. So what you see here for my permissions are what it states. 664. So that's how when I created my file, that's what got created. It's all based on my UMask. Their UMask right here, by looking at this right here, their UMask is different. Or it could be some permissions that they have on the on some SUID or GUID permissions in a directory, but I doubt it. It's probably coming directly from a UMask. So what this we're gonna go through this with directories too. So let's do ls. I have a directory already created, ABC. So if I did an ls on if I just do it ls-l, you see the permissions on my directories are 775, right? So if we started out with 077, 777, and then 0002, and we do a subtraction, 0 minus 0 is 0. 7 minus 0 is 7. 7 minus 0 is 7. And then 7 minus 2. Oh my, I got another 0. Oh no, I did it right. 7 minus 2 is 5. So what we have here is 775. That's how the permissions on the directory got set, and that all came from the UMask of 0002. And we can change that UMask, but we're not gonna do that right now. We're gonna keep going. So if you wonder how those permissions ever got set, that's how they got set, because of the UMask. All right. So in here, they're talking about a symbolic link. Now, I want you to understand that when you have a command like ln, it tells you right here, I'm missing some operations on this. So there's a couple of things I can do to get me help. All right. I can do it ln minus help, and it's going to show me, it's going to scroll off my screen. So let me do it ln minus help, and let's pipe it over to head. All right. And it's just going to give me the top of the line. But I don't want to do all of that. I'm going to use my man pages and type in ln. Now, remember before, there are certain ways that commands are set up. You have the command itself, in this case it's ln, and then you have options that go with the command, where you see they have options, and then you have what we call arguments that are needed. In our case, the stuff that are in brackets are options, and then the stuff that's underlined right here, we most definitely have to have those things. So I need a target and a link, right? The target is, what do you want to create a symbolic link to? So a symbolic link is equivalent on Windows as a shortcut. That's all it is. It's just a shortcut. Don't try to make it symbolic. Do. But again, when we're talking about what a symbolic link, what our options are to make a link, you can jump down here and see that we have just these different options right here. If you notice, they didn't use any options at all to make this hard link. That's because I don't have to. And in the man pages, it tells me right there that I don't have to. It says some things are optional. All right. So right now, what we're creating is a hard link. So they're creating a hard link from new file text and then to temp file text, right? But let's go back to our command. Man on ln. What they have is a link, and we don't have any options, so we can skip this section right here. And then they have a target. So the target is new file text. And then the link to that is /temp new file text hlink to .text. So we're gonna play with what they're doing. You can play with it. All right, so you can do ln. Let me see. And do I have a new file here? Okay, yeah. So the ln, the target, which is new file text, and then in /temp, I'm gonna type in new file hlink to .text, and then I'm gonna hit enter. Now, what do you think happened? I created a hard link. And if we go back up here to what it says about a hard link, it says every file starts with a single hard link from its initial name to the data on the file. When you create a new hard link to a file, you create another name that points to the same data. The new hard link acts exactly like the original file name. Once you create it, you cannot tell the difference between the two. In other words, whatever I do on this file, whatever I do on the link, it's gonna be the same thing on the new file. Basically, they're should be pointing to the same inode. So let's do it ls. Now you can see there's no link or nothing in here. I still have new file text. But if I do an ls on temp, you can see I have a new file h2 link dot h2 hlink to text. So let's go over to /temp. Let me clear my screen. And I'm going to do ls-l. And you can see I created this file basically because I'm telling you, it tells me it's a file. It's a hard link, new file, hlink2.txt. So let's play around with some stuff. All right. Let's see if we edit this file, new file, hlink2.txt, and let's put hello 10. And then let's cd back over to our home directory with cd tilde. And then let's cat new file text. Hello Tam is in there. Are y'all seeing that? I didn't type in nothing in new file text, but I did type something in new file h2 link 2.txt. Are y'all seeing that? You can type a 1 in the chat. Right? So let's play around with it. Let's go the opposite way. I did some editing on the stuff in temp. Let's see what happens if I edit the stuff inside of my home directory. So in new file .text, if I put in now hello class, what do you think is going to be in the file inside of temp? Type it in the chat. What do you think is be in the file in temp? Or you can say it out loud. All right, so now let's do a cat on /temp, and it is called, let me go back down here, a new file. So we're going to do a cat on new file, new file hlink2.txt. Let's see. Let's see if let me see. Tune they say it's a copy. So let's see. There you go. Hello, they're pointing to the same. They're pointing to the same thing, right? And it's a hard link, right? So here, they did the hard link. They did the ls. They showed you /temp, and I don't know why here they're showing you that new file.txt here is in it, but it's not. New file.txt is in your home directory, and new file hlink text is over here in temp. Now it says if you want to find out whether these two files are hard links of each other, one way is to use the -i for that, right? So what they're saying is, and we don't know what the -i means, right?
It's
So let's go.
fine. Sorry.
Right, right. So let's go to man pages and type in ls. And if you jump down here to -i, I'm just using my arrows to scroll down really fast. Right? Print the inode number of each file. Okay. The inode. Tamika said something about inodes. But let's go over here and tell you what is an inode. You know why this is a Linux question. This is an interview question. All right.
Yeah, by
Let
the
me
way, I was asked this like on 3 interviews.
yep.
What an I know.
What is an inode? All right. Let's go over here to inodes and file system. By definition, inode is an index node. It serves as a unique identifier for specific piece of metadata on a given file system. You're not going to remember that. So it's best to explain it the way I've done it is the best to explain it between what's the difference between a hard link and a soft link. And so inside of here, when they do the ls-l, so we're in our home directory. We can tell that by typing pwd, and we can also see by this tilde that I'm in my home directory. And I'm student, so we can see that. So if I do ls-il on new file text and temp, new file HLink text, you can see right here in the beginning right here, that's the inode. They have the same inode. And so right here, they're showing if you want to find out if two files are hard links of each other, one way is to use the dash I with the ls command to list the files inode. If the files are on the same file system and their inodes are the same, the files are hard links pointing to the same data. So if you erase one, guess what? You erase the other because they're pointing to the same thing. So what the soft link allows you to do is create that shortcut. But if I erased something, like if I erase the directory, I don't erase the contents of the directory as a shortcut. All right. So it says right here, all hard links that reference the same file will have the same link count, the access permissions, the user, the groups, the timestamps, and the file content. If any of that information is changed using one hard link, all hard links pointing to the same file will show the new information as well. This is because each hard link points to the same data on the storage device. In our case, is pointing to the same inode. And when it says storage device, if I do a df minus h, I know that I have a /dev VDA. So V standing for virtual disk, right? And I have two partitions, VDA2, VDA3, and their entire partition is, or the entire drive is VDA /dev VDA, our device, right? So I know that, right? So on the virtual disk, on virtual disk A, because I can have virtual disk A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? It's letting me know that on virtual disk that this new file text and new file HLink text point to the same inode and have the same data. Now it says here, remove new file dot text. Let's see. Let's see what happens. I am in here, so I'm gonna remove dash F and oh, let me not get carried away. And we do a man on RM. In case you know, RM meaning remove, and then dash F meaning force it. Right? So I'm doing rm dash F on new file.txt. So is there still something sitting over in /temp? Let's see. I have my new file h2 HLink 2. So let me clear. And then let me see. They say cat /temp new file h2. I got the same stuff there. Okay, let's see what it says. Even if the original file gets deleted, the contents of the file are still available as long as at least one hard link exists. Data is only deleted from the storage when the last hard link is deleted. All right, so rm-f removed it. Here is the file that's still there, and we cat the file that's still there. Now here's some limitations they say. So I was wrong. You shouldn't remove the file. It didn't remove the other one, but it removed the link between the two. So the hard links have some limitation. Firstly, hard links can only be used with regular files. You cannot use the ln to create a link between a directory or a special file. Secondly, hard links can only be used if both files are on the file system. The file system hierarchy can be made up on multiple storage devices depending on the configuration of your system. When you change into a new directory, that directory and its contents may be stored on a different file system. And then they said you could do a df. And I just did a df minus h just a few minutes ago. And I should have explained that command. So the df is to show me, again, the file system, how much is being used and what's available. All right, the percentage of what's being used. But I can also do a man on df. The H is for human readable. So you could have did a df minus I to list the I nodes. You could do a k to list it in block sizes and so forth. Most people read in human readable format, unless you totally like want to geek out and do it a different way, right? File. All right, so it says the files in two different mounted on directories, and the subdirectories are on different file systems. So the system in this example, you created a hard link in var temp link one and user and home user file because they both are subdirectories of slash, but not any other directory on the list on the list. But you cannot create a hard link between boot, test, bad link, and home user file because the first file is on a different subdirectory. So they're talking about slash boot is on this one. Like I said, the subdirectory slash boot, and then the second file it is not. Let's go over that again. But you cannot create a hard link between slash boot test bad link and home user file because the first file is in a subdirectory of slash boot. Okay. Bad link is in a subdirectory of test or boot if you want to say it that way. And the second file is not, right? And so here second file, oh yeah, and the file is not user. Okay. Well, that still don't make sense to me. That makes sense to y'all? That sounds confusing to me. I know it sounds confusing to you. Type of 2 in the chat if that was confusing. Yeah. So let's read it again. All right. You cannot create a hard link. We know what that is. Between slash boot test bad link and slash home user file because the first file is in a subdirectory of slash boot on the mounted on, and the second file is not. What second file? Let's try it. Do we have a slash boot? No, we don't. Are they showing slash boot up here? They're not. All right, Ree. Let's see, make there or not make there, but ln slash boot test bad, and I don't think I could do that. Well, we're about to find out. Home, and we minimize this. Oops, student file. Yep, it won't let me do that because there's no test. I mean, there's no sudo slash boot. And if I make a test here, oh, hold on. All right. So now let's do that. Why didn't you like me? Oh, because I probably need to be root. No, don't like it. So it failed. Even bad link failed. Even though there is a directory, even though I made a directory called test right here. Well, let me go ahead and touch a file. Bad link. Need to be root. All right. So now, if I cd to home, I should have my file there. It's owned by root. I will have to All right. So in theory, if I sudo cat /boot test bad link, yeah, hello town should be there. And it's saying that files in two different mounted on directories and their subdirectories are on different file systems. The most specific matches. So the system is in this example, you created a hard link, var link, var temp link one, and home user file because they are both of subdirectories of slash, but not any other directory on the list. But you cannot create a hard link between /boot test bad link and /home user file. And let me see. They're not showing. Okay, here's /boot right here. So /boot is on SDA1, right? And then /home is on probably on /. And so those are the two file systems they're saying. They're on two different file systems that you cannot create. And I think why this worked is because it's on the same file system. Sudo, and then let me vim etc fs tab. So /boot has its own file system. Yeah, it look like its own UID /boot EFI. And then this one, well, they're two different file systems too, or two different they're formatted two different ways. One is in XSF and one is VFAT. Oh no, we have to look that one up. That didn't make sense. I was able to do everything they said I wasn't able to do. But it may just stem from that it being on slash anyway. Cause I can type in block ID. Let me clear. If I type block ID, I can see I have a VDA 3, a VDA 2, MS DOS. That's my boot system. It's my root file system right here. And they got a party UID in VDA 1. And you'll start learning about how to use block ID to find new stuff and everything. Like there's a LS USB, so you can find USB devices. There's a LS PCI, so you can find PCI devices as well too. There's a entire storage documentation from Red Hat on how to use different storage information and so forth. All right, we're gonna move on because that didn't make sense, but we'll highlight that. I had to look that one up. I have to ask somebody about that. So creating a soft link right here. So the soft links have some advantages over hard links. They can link two files on different file systems. They can point to a directory or a special file, not just a regular file. So in here, they pass the -s. We do a man on ln. We can do just a search on -s. Right here, you can see a symbolic link. Make a symbolic link instead of hard link. So make us basically a soft link. So in home, I'm gonna have a new file. Oops, let me go back. Let me exit. And then I'm going to touch a file here. All right. And then it's saying that I want to create a symbolic link from again, let's go back to man on ln. Remember, I'm doing a ln and now I'm adding the option -s. The target is home user new file 2, and then the link name is /temp new file symlink dot text. All right. So let me pull this back over. Actually, let me pull this up. Oh no, that ain't good. That was disastrous. All right, so let me keep this on the page here. So now we're gonna do a ln minus s slash home user student, sorry. New file link text link new file dash link to, and then we want to do slash temp new file SEMlink text. So now we're gonna do slash temp new file SEMlink dot text. So now we do ls. We see we still have this one here, but if we do ls minus l and temp, you see that I have a symbolic link, right? And if we clear the screen and if we cd over to slash temp, and then we did a ls minus l, you can see that I have the pointer that I had before. I have the L out here in the front that's showing that it's a link, and it points to slash home student new file link new files dash link to dot text. Make sense? And it says in the preceding example, the first character of the loan listing slash temp is showing you the dash the L in the front to indicate that it's a link instead of a dash, which means it was a regular file. This indicates that it's a soft link and not a regular file, right? And if we had a D in the front, it'd be a directory. We covered that already. When the original regular file gets deleted, the soft link will still point to the file, but the target is gone. So a soft link, so it's a soft link pointing to a missing file. It's called a dangling soft link. So then they said, let's remove. Remember, the target goes first, and then the link, the name of, the name of the link. So in our case, we're gonna remove the CDO back to our home directory, and we could do a CD dash, and that should get us back to our previous directory, which was home, instead of using the tilde. All right, so now we're gonna remove dash f new file.txt, and if we do a ls minus l and temp, it should be red. All right, you see that flashing, meaning the target is gone. Like, where my target at? All right, you told me you wanted me to link, you wanted to link to something, but now you're gone. All right, and now if you cat slash temp new file SEMlink.txt, it's pointed back to student. We just removed it, so nothing is gonna be there. I'll have to show you that it's not gonna be there. You can see it flashing like, Danger Will Robinson. Danger Will Robinson. Danger Will Robinson is what you're getting. Right? One side effect of dangling soft links is the preceding example is that if you create a new file with the same name as the deleted file, the soft link will no longer be dangling and will point to the new file. Hard links do not work that way. If you delete a hard link and use normal tools rather than ln to create a new file with the same name, the new file will not be linked to the old file. In other words, once you create that hard link, those inodes are together. And if you deleted the old file, if you have a hard link and created a new file with the same name, it won't be linked together. But the soft link, if you did that, it'll be linked together. So let's go prove that. So in slash home, if I create this file called new file link 2.txt, and then I go back and do my ls minus l on temp, the flashing is gone. The link is happy again. We're back in business. So that's what they're showing here. And then one way to compare hard links to soft links that might help you understand. A hard link points to the same data, where a soft link points a name to another name that points to the data on the storage. And you could tell by doing the ls minus il. If the two I nodes are the same, then it's a hard link. And so here they get into, basically they're creating a soft link, the target, and then the location. So basically, if I do a ln minus s on etc, that was just my target, and then I'm gonna call it etc config, and I'm just gonna put that right in my home directory, and I do a ls. You can see I have a etc config. If I do a ls minus l, it'll show you that it's pointing to etc. So instead of me doing this cd to etc, and then let me go cd back to where I was at, cd dash. And so instead of me cd into etc, I can just do a ls. I can cd to etc config, and that puts me right in my etc directory. And now if I do a pwd, it shows you I'm in home student etc config, which is a symbolic link to etc, but I'm still in my home directory. So I just made a shortcut for myself, so I don't have to go all over the world, right? To 9:15. Oh, we ran out of time, damn. We started at 6. It started at it's 9:15. My bad. Well, at least I got through chapter 3. And this is the guided exercises that I showed you before. I don't go through those. Leave that up to you. Matching file names with shell expansions. All right, yeah. I will gonna spend some time on this one. I may do this on like Saturday or Sunday. I want to get through chapter 3 this week. So I may just do a live, not a red hat live, but a YouTube live on this one, because I want to get through this. Just all on shell expansion. Pattern matching. I can run through that real quick though. Yeah, it's a lot of info in chapter 3. So here they're making a directory they call glob. Then you jump into glob, and then they do a touch on all these files. All right, so let's do this real quick, and then I'm gonna go back up and what happened? Let me see. Oh, let me go up one. That's why. All right, so that I'm cheating. We're gonna let this make all the stuff for us. All right, and then if we do an ls, we can see the files are there, and we can do an ls minus l. We can see that they're all files. We understand how they got their permissions. They're created by me as a student, and so forth. So here, pattern matches. Glob meaning like I can grab everything, right? So let's do this. Let's clear. Let's grab. Let's do an ls on everything minus l. A that starts with an A. It has an A in the front, and then star. So it's gonna grab everything with A star. Another thing to do is, let me see, will this work? I don't think this works. Grab everything that starts with A. Yeah, I didn't think so. But what would work, I think, is grab everything that starts with A. That didn't work, huh? Oh, I wonder, do I have to do? Yeah. So this should have
Do you
grabbed
mean?
everything that started with A, but that didn't work. What'd you say?
Oh, I was about to ask, do you mean to use a wild card instead? Like,
No, it's something else that I have to do for the grab that. Um, and then I think if you do everything with the dollar sign afterwards,
Yeah, if you do an
yeah,
A
it's gonna.
star,
It,
it should show it. Okay.
yeah, A star is gonna do that, but I want to do starts with. So the A dollar sign is gonna grab everything that ends in A. So, but let's go through it. So the star is the glob. Grab a single character is with a question mark. Grab any character in between the brackets. All right. Grab everything else that's grab everything, but don't grab the stuff that's in between the brackets with the exclamation point. And here again, any one character not in the enclosed spaces is here. And look, these two are the same, right? Um, any any alphabetic character, any lowercase, any uppercase, alphanumeric, any printable character, not a space or an alphanumeric digits, and then here, any single white space character may include tabs, new lines, and so forth. So let's get to it. So here they did a ls minus a. We showed that. Um, here they did ls star a star. Right. So what we see here, we grab stuff that begin with A, stuff that stuff that had A in between. The their the words as well, and stuff that ended in A. Now with the brackets, remember if we go back up here with the brackets, right? Grab any character that's enclosed in the brackets between the square space. So it should grab anything with A and C in it, right? And then ls question mark, 4 question marks. The question marks is any single character, right? But check it out. Notice the numbering. So if I do a ls question mark, it didn't know what to do that with that. But if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, it grabs all the 4-letter words, right? It didn't know what to do with the question mark. So if I do with 3, it's gonna grab everything with 3. So if I do a touch on A, B, C, and I use my up arrow again and then do a ls question mark, you see that it grabbed every single one with a single uh, file with a single character, right? And that's what they were trying to show you right here. And then here, tilde expression matches the current home user's directory. If it starts with a string of characters other than a slash, the shell will interpret the string up to the slash. So basically an escape, and replace it with the absolute. So that's what they're trying to show you here. In the following, the echo command is used to display the values of the tilde character. The echo command can also be used to display values of the brace and the variable expansion characters. All right, so if you never used echo before, it's just like print echo hello, hello, um, echo uh, me want food, and it's gonna echo what's in the double quotes. Will it do it in single quotes? What are your thoughts? Me want food, right? Single quotes, double quotes. It did the same thing, right? So now let's do echo dollar sign root or tilde. Sorry. Here is slash root. They did. We don't have a user. We have student, and so it gave us basically the path to that, right? I don't have a user dollar sign slash glob, but let's try it. I know I don't have that, but let's see. Maybe it prints out what I have here. Yeah, so it printed out the path, the home. So that's what it did. It went $ is home student, right? So if I say echo $, it is gonna give me home student. And then if I say $/glob, it gave me home student glob. Got that? Let me double check. Yeah. All right. So the next one up is echo and peep what they're doing. They're putting things into curly brackets and they're giving it an ending of .log. So what it's going to do is create a file called, create several files called echo Sunday.log, Monday.log, Tuesday.log, Wednesday.log, right? Let's double verify that. Remember, the brackets are important and the ending is important, right? And let me hit enter. All right. And now if I change this to text, right, now I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to do it ls. I'm going to do it ls-l. Oh, what did it do my files at? Oh, it just echoed it out. That's what it is. It didn't create. I was just doing the echo. However, I can do this though. Let me clear my screen. It's just echoing stuff, but now I just created the files, right? And now I can do my up arrow where it was just echoing the .log. I can use Control A to get back to the beginning of the line, and then I can now type in touch. And now I can clear my screen, and I can do ls-l, and you'll see I have the logs and the text, right? So here they're doing the same thing again. Echo file 1.3. So 1 through 3. So let's do that, right? So we're gonna grab this one and then come here. And then if you hit enter, you see it grabbed and created. It didn't create, it just echo. If I wanted to create, I'll put touch in front of it. Same thing with this here. It's going to do echo ABC. And then here, notice what it's doing here now. This is where it gets tricky. You see file, and it's going to grab A1 and then A2.txt, B1 and B2.txt. Right? So if I want to create these files like a A1, A2, B1, B2, that's my pattern match that I'm doing. Then they get fancy. They say echo a file, and here we know we're going to match up A1, and then we also know we're going to match up A2, but then we're going to create files B and C, and then text. Are you seeing that? I'm going to pattern match. I want you to take A, and I want you to create me a file saying file or echo, whatever, file A1.txt, or file A1.txt, file A2.txt, and then create me a file called B, and then create me a file called C, file B, file C.txt, and it does it there. And then it says a practical use of expansion is to quickly create a number of files or directories. So I'm going to make a directory up 2 levels called RHEL 6, 7, and 8. And then it's going to say using the glob LS stat, RHEL 6, RHEL 7, RHEL 8. And then they get into variable expression, and I won't hit you all over the head with the rest of that. But we'll finish this off next week on variable expression. But let me know, did this make sense to you? What we just went through here with this tilde expansion that I've been using it all night. We went over the question marks and so forth. Well, we in the guided exercises, they're gonna really go over that's the quiz. In the lab, they're gonna really go over having you create these things. But I just want to see if y'all were paying attention. Which pattern will only match file names ending in B? What you thinking? Somebody said B. Survey says, there you go. All right. Which pattern will only match file names beginning with B? It says A. Survey says, which pattern will only match file names where the first character is not B?
E.
Who said, what you say, B or D?
D as in dog.
Okay, got it. Which pattern will match all file names containing B? All right, C is the answer. Which pattern will only match? Which pattern will only match only file names that contain a number? Oh, we're getting conflicting here. We're getting conflicting here. Somebody call it out. Which one am I going with? B or D?
B. B as in boy.
B as in boy? All right. Hey, y'all ready? Are you ready? There you go. All right. Does anybody know why this is the answer? Yeah, no, that is the answer. You gotta go back to the notes. Gotta go
It
back
was
to
in
the
the
notes.
chapter. I don't. I can't tell.
Yeah, it's in the chapter.
It was in the chapter.
Yep. Which pattern will only match file names that begin with an uppercase? We know we can rule out what A, B, and E. Somebody say D. Y'all going with D? Sorry, says D it is. All right, last but not least, let's see what we got. Which pattern will only match file names at least 3 characters in length? I know y'all know this.
B as in boy.
B is in boy. We got some B's and some A's, but the person spoke up from the crowd saying B. We're gonna go with B. What are you thinking? Speed it up and check. Oh, everybody falls out. She messed it up for you. You was on a roll. It was on a roll. What more do you want from me? Lori, you said
It's
I
A.
said
I
I said
I
A, but
I
you know
missed
what?
the at least.
It's at least, yeah.
A.
And because I got it wrong when I did it on my own. Truth be told, I selected B when I did it myself, but
What
I know
more
it's
do
A.
you want from me? Okay, that was good. That means you paid attention. That means I did pretty good on that. Is there a man page on it? No, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there is a Red Hat
Regex.
documentation.
There's a
Huh?
regex site. I took a JavaScript class a long time ago, And there was a regex site. I'm trying to see if I can find it for you that helps with regular expressions.
Yep, and that's also one from Red Hat. Regular expression right here. See appendix regular expression. This is cloud forms, but again, they're just going over regular expressions. And then here's a regular expression data flow and building blocks right here. This is from 2019. All right, and they kind of go through here as well too. But there's tons of stuff on regular expressions, set, alt, rep, cut, and we hadn't gotten into those yet. I kind of did a little bit with grep. But yeah. Hey man, you got all the answers over there. And then here's the lab. And the lab, you go through and it walks you through every single thing, right? Walks you through it. The goal of this lab is to do the work, right? Read it, do the command, and don't look at the answer. The goal of it is for you to figure it out. And if you can't figure it out, then show the solution. That's the goal of this one. Capiche? I'm gonna start recording.